Set for release November 10th, 2022 by developer Guild Studio and publisher Bonus Stage Publishing on Steam, Shadow of the Guild seems to be an indie title that's a mashup of various genres. The best way I can describe it, Shadow of the Guild is a short RPG with platforming, hack and slash, and stealth elements, and for a small indie team's first game. While not without its flaws, I'm gonna have to say Guild Studio pulled it off pretty well. I've had my eye on this title long before release, based on its art style alone. So thanks to Bonus Stage Publishing for hooking me up with a review key. If by the time I'm done here, you like what you see and hear, then I've got keys up for grabs. Stick and stay till the end to find out how to get your hands on this ambitious indie gem. Silver & Echo did an experiment with this earlier, and even then, we thought this was simply a hack and slash platformer. Shadow of the Guild is actually a pretty good, what I'd like to call a mini RPG, that based on what I saw after completing it, will be released episodically. It has a most interesting story. The story is based on a French novel, a novel with a name I wouldn't dare try to pronounce at this point, as the closest I come to speaking French is saying Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I will not butcher that novel's name trying to look smarter than I really am. I won't spoil too much of the story for you either, but it goes a little something like this. You are Yaron Malak, a shadow of the Rain Merchants Guild, an elite spy and assassin. Your leader, Edinil Boraskin, has sent you to infiltrate the empire of Gethro III and stop the Emperor. Your instructions are clear. Execute this task with extreme prejudice. As the story plays out, you'll realize that all isn't as it seems, but for now, you are loyal to the guild and proceed to obey with a little question. While I'm not gonna sit here acting like I understood this story completely, I did get the gist, as it is well told. Persons who read the book would have a better grasp of the lore, but for an outsider, I think Guild Studio did an admirable job of conveying this. And when I saw the end credits roll, it did kind of leave me on the edge of my seat. I look forward to the second chapter. The visuals. This is what got my attention in the first place. I saw teasers on Twitter and immediately I was interested. The hand-drawn comic book graphic novel style, real nice. The stealth kills, truly entertaining. All isn't perfect, mind you. As playing this, you will see where Shadow of the Guild lacks a certain AAA polish. The animations are what took the biggest hit. I am aware from playing games like Sense, a cyberpunk ghost story, that this is probably an intentional animation style. But if it is, I can't say I'm in love with it. The animations look like they're missing several needed frames. You can really see what I'm talking about when the characters walk and fall, or get up from a fall. But other than that, I'm really digging these visuals, in-game and the cutscenes, real nice. In the sound department, the composer deserves a bonus. I love the score. The overall package here, the story, the visuals, the gameplay, well put together. But the score really brought everything to life. Unfortunately, there's no voice acting, text only. And I'm thinking, if this had some quality voice acting, things would have really gone up several notches. The sound effects were also good, but while going through a few of the exploration sections, I did notice the ambient sounds, like the background chatter seemed to be on a short loop. This may be nitpicking and I may be wrong, as that's kind of hard to pin down as fact, but it really did sound that way. Gameplay. This is where things got real interesting. This game actually reminds me of an indie African-made RPG named Orion Legacy of the Coriodan, and much like Orion, Guild Studio reminds us there are advantages to being indie. There are certain gameplay decisions here that I really wouldn't expect to see in a AAA game. Some for better, some for worse, but still, it reminds you of the certain level of freedom indie creators have. On startup, we have very little options, not much to choose from here. Then, once I got started, I first noticed the controls lacked refinement. The controls, particularly jumping, felt floaty, and for a game that has quite a bit of platforming in it, I would have appreciated tighter controls. Then, Yaron's movements overall aren't that precise either. Walking in particular was an issue for me. By default, you're always running. I would have preferred if he walked by default, then maybe the right bumper button made him run. Maybe that's just a me thing, but it didn't feel right. I did, however, get used to it after some time. Rolling should also have been assigned to a button as well, especially since you can roll to dodge attacks. There really should have been just a dodge or dash button that made you roll. Instead, you have to pull down and move in the direction you'd like to roll. There's a pretty decent tutorial which brings you up to speed though, and like I said, I got used to it, like any experienced gamer would. You've got your light attack, heavy attack, special abilities and combos, which all work as expected. There's also that RPG element I mentioned. You've got a skill tree. So as you make your way through, you gain XP points and you're able to spend these points on 3 different sets of skills, based on your preferred playstyle. You've got character, which is more your physical brute strength, power, endurance, and so on. Then you got your mana, your magic, or as it's called here, your spells. Then we've got your assassin abilities, your stealth attributes. So based on your preferred way to play, you can level up as you see fit. I stuck more to the brute force abilities. That served me well. However, this being the relatively short engagement it is, I wasn't able to max out any of them, but what I did level up served me well. You're able to easily switch spells, projectile weapons, and you're even able to use objects in the environment to help you out. Like let's say you see a spear or axe hanging on the wall, you can easily throw it at an enemy for a little extra backup. As your health or mana depletes, you can easily top them up on the fly. The only thing I didn't like about this was, in order to use your health or mana potions, you had to stand still. I didn't like this as far back as Blue Stinger for the Dreamcast, when you had to stop dead in your tracks to reload your gun. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. Other than Orion, Shadow of the Guild also reminds me of the Assassin's Creed Chronicles series, with its 2D stealth gameplay, hiding in the shadows and so on. I said this earlier, but I really love the way Guild Studio designed the assassinations, where you'd see a cutscene overlay when you pulled one off. I could have used a bit more variety with these animations, but still, as this is a short game, it never really got old and was highly entertaining each time. The overall difficulty here was somewhere between easy and moderate. This coupled with the short runtime further solidifies Shadow of the Guild as my kind of game. There were even puzzle sections, and while I was concerned for a second, as I'm really not a fan of puzzle games anymore, there were no brainbusters here, just a bit of common sense and I was quickly on my way. I found the checkpoints to be a bit of a roller coaster ride, and this takes me back to the whole indie devs do their own thing bit. In some stages, I'd get several checkpoints which suited me well, but then you'd have stages that required you to stealthily kill everyone in an area before moving on, and if you messed up even one, if you got caught, it was game over and back to the start. And maybe it's just me, because I really hate backtracking. I abhor doing things over and over, so there's that. There was this one stage on a ship. I found its design to be, well, a bit unconventional. Not nearly as odd as this one section where you had to sit and watch an entire rock performance play out. Totally unskippable. This was downright bizarre. But there's this stage where you were on a ship and you had to keep fueling the ship's weapon with electricity to keep the weapons firing to keep attacking ships away. This was the most frustrating stage for me, as if you didn't get it all in one go, you'd have to take it from the top. And other than keeping the attacking ships off you, pirates were boarding your ship at the same time. Frustrating, but I've experienced worse, and much like the boss fights, it had a pattern if you slowed down and paid attention, so I got through it eventually. But much like watching that musical performance, these are what I'm referring to when I say indie devs do what they want, for better or worse. Let's talk boss fights. I feel the same way about boss fights as I do puzzles. I happily live without them. But clearly the devs aren't a bunch of sadists. As much like the puzzles, the bosses were a breeze. They come at you with very basic attack patterns, and once you take a breath and pay attention to said patterns, its boss lights out in no time. I played through this entire game, and although I saw some room for improvement, I can still say I was not disappointed. This is Studio Guild's first game, and I can see the passion, I can see the love they put into it, and it's appreciated. I enjoyed my time with Shadow of the Guild, and I do look forward to the other chapters in this interesting and ambitious series. I expect major improvements with each installment. I don't know how many others Studio Guilds got planned, but I'll be there with you guys for the entire ride. Now, if you're interested, I've got keys up for grabs. No dog and pony show required either. If you'd like one, just leave a comment letting the devs know what they did right in your eyes. And it's as simple as that. A code for Shadow of the Guild will be heading your way. Either message me on Instagram, Twitter, or email me at thelabvideogametv@gmail.com and I'll send it right over. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's say I found a way to piss you off with this one though. Then hey, the logical course of action would be to dislike, unsub, and leave a strongly worded diatribe in the comment section, or whatever the hell it takes to make you feel vindicated. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.